So let's talk about these LLMs, these models, and how we can interact with them to actually benefit our health, because so much of what we've heard about has been the detrimental effects on our health and well-being.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. So basically, LLMs today, of course, are everywhere. They're being pushed to us in our text editors, Google search, all of that. But we still don't know what the impact is of using these chatbots for assistance in our daily lives. And one of the things that we are looking at here at the MIT Media Laboratory is exactly the impact of using these technologies day in, day out, on our cognitive functioning, on our ability to think critically, our ability to learn, our ability to solve problems, our socializing, our loneliness, and so on.
Yeah, that's the thing. One of the things I think about Dr. Maes is we did so well in keeping on top of social media, so it did no harm.
She's being sarcastic.
Thank you so much. He's right, though.
Yeah.
So my fear is, how do we keep on top of this? So tell us about the work you are doing to try and get a handle on how it might impact our brain, our psychological health, and how that might inform the companies that are in the thick of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we've been doing studies here at the MIT Media Lab showing that when you use these technologies to help you with a particular work task or with writing an essay, etc., it may actually improve your performance in the moment when you have access to these tools, but it can actually erode some of those same skills in the long term if you rely on these technologies for too much of your work, basically. So it's really important that we think about how these technologies should be integrated in our daily life and in our work life in such a way that they don't erode skills that we don't want to lose. And that's exactly what we try to focus on with our work.
So how do we do that? When we are because we are encouraged to use these. I mean, you have people come on our program and say, if you're not using these tools, then you are essentially, erasing yourself from the workforce in the future.
Yeah.
But there's that balance that we want to make sure we continue to be able to think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, the emphasis of LLM development has been especially on increasing their capacity, their efficiency, things like that. But it hasn't exactly been on the design of these systems and designing them in a way so that ultimately the benefit for people is a net positive, especially in the long term. So we believe that we actually have to increase the friction in these systems and that they shouldn't too readily just do all the work for us, but they should play a more augmentative role, basically, and support us in also developing our skills and keeping our skills sort of up to a certain level.
So what do we do? Is it create guardrails? Or when we ask a question, that's pretty easy. Don't you want to do that on your own? And, then there are those of us who are going to be like, yeah, it might be easy, but I don't have the time. I just wonder, how do we actually manage this? Yeah. And,
concrete.
I was going to say, and we're in a world where the government, and you have, is it OpenAI, right, that has been pushing back about concerns about weapons that can ultimately, or systems that can think on their own. So,
or Anthropic.
Anthropic, forgive me. Anthropic is who we're thinking about. But this pushback and the concern about what this means for weapons. But I do think about these systems that can maybe almost have a life personality of their own and what damage they can create, especially for a younger population, but not just younger, all of us.
Yeah, well, these systems are not necessarily 100% correct yet all the time. They still hallucinate. They don't really deeply understand our world. And so it's important that we still are able to understand things, solve problems, and that we can supervise these systems so we know when they may be incorrect or when we maybe shouldn't be trusting them. So one of the things we do here at MIT is we've been developing a set of benchmarks that actually evaluate the impact of LLM use on people, on their ability to think critically, for example, and to think for themselves. So it's very important that LLMs don't just always give you the answer, depending on the context and who's the user and what they're using the LLM for. It may be better for that chatbot to just ask a question first of the user to engage them in thinking, because our tests show that when an LLM just gives you the answer readily, people stop thinking for themselves. They're naturally a little bit lazy.
Does that,
they stop.
Dr. Maes, does that align with the incentives of these LLMs?
No, it doesn't exactly align with the incentives, which is another reason why we are developing these benchmarks, the benchmark for the human impact of AI. Because if we have a benchmark like that, we can put pressure on these companies to actually do well on that particular human impact benchmark.